Welcome, everyone, to the Urantia book. This book is a divine revelation of truth to this planet, has the power to upstep your life, to expand your God consciousness, and also to change the course of this wayward planet. If we can embrace these things, these concepts, ideals, then we would have a world of unity, but not uniformity. And that's the key, one of the key teachings that this book differs from the various religions. It's about unity, not uniformity. Today we're going to look at this thing called the mansion worlds, just briefly, because it's an excellent concept which has the ability to balance mercy with justice. Let's first think about how our other religions have taught us where our ascension is in this journey of our soul. If we look at our Christianity, it says that there's either believing here that Jesus died on the cross for your sins, and then, if that's the case, heaven. Boom. No other intermediary or anything. It's just here or heaven. If there is a a rejection of that or a failure to believe that, then there is hell, right? Then there's the concept of purgatory, which is more a Catholic kind of, intermediate idea or sort of thing. Now, a nuance within Christianity, there's this paragraph in the Bible or quote that says, "In my Father's kingdom there are many mansions," what Jesus of Nazareth says in the Bible. And the Christians don't really go into that too much. But if you look at what how the Urantia book expands upon that, they talk about all these different things called the mansions world, all right? The mansion worlds. And these are the intervening worlds between where you are right now here on this planet Earth and then this ultimate understanding of this thing called heaven, right? The dwelling place of God, even these heavenly universes called Havona and the central isle of paradise. There is this stage of our existence called the mansion worlds. Now, here is the beautiful thing which takes this understanding from our religion of Christianity and upsteps it and makes it have so much more fitting balance and sense. It makes so much more logical sense, and that's what we want. Remember, deity and divinity is practical and logical. It's saying that you pick up on the other side where you leave off here. So, for instance, if somebody was to be very good about trying to do their service to their fellow human, all these godly, loving ideals, they could even skip past these mansion worlds entirely. Another word that they actually call these mansion worlds is detention worlds. And they're calling it that not because they're these evil, hellish places where, you have to get poked in the ass with a pitchfork or something like that. They say that they're detention worlds, even though they're glorious, and we can even look, they spell out the beauty of these planets, okay? There's an entirely different form of material that they are this living material and just unparalleled beauty that we couldn't even, fathom right now. But compared to what is out there beyond that, they still are considering it a detention world, because there, let's say you qualify for the first mansion world, you are going to unlearn some of the things that you picked up doing life on a backwards and wayward planet such as Urantia, which is our planet. So that could be something like, geez, I really need to make a fortified gun turret type of compound in order to keep my neighbor at bay. And you know what? Maybe in some instances, you might even need to. I mean, we need to have, our armies. They went well beyond what they needed to be. But that might be somebody's program. They think that that is godly or that is heavenly, that they're, nestled in within all of their guns and turrets and that sort of stuff. But then they go to the mansion worlds and they'll say, well, we don't do that here, okay? That was the physical world, and that's what the physical worlds are for. But now, progressing on, we have to wipe that circuit out of your mind. Now, here's the beautiful thing. Faith, well, you have to master it on your own, okay? Faith is the thing that will grant you an eternity. You can have an eternity to progress through these worlds and then even beyond, many, many more beyond that, till eventually reaching the divine. But it's not until you choose personally to do the mastery, to evolve to the next level, to the next level, to the next level, that you are able to evolve. The faith grants you the eternity, but then it is your own self-mastery which allows you to advance within the universe. So you could tarry around on mansion world number 1 until you finally say, yeah, you know what? I agree. That would be ungodly for people to have these gun turrets and accidentally kill their neighbor, or have these loud explosions in heaven and that sort of thing. Yeah, you're right, and they'll say, okay, great. Well, good job. You learned what you needed to on mansion world number 1. These are just very crude examples, people. But now we are going to evolve to the next, the next mansion world. Okay. So that is what that's what the justice is. That is the beauty of the justice. So for instance, if I'm somebody here on planet Earth and I choose to be a good person, do all my loving service, I can skip all past these mansion worlds. That is justice. And somebody who maybe they're spiritual, right? Maybe they're saying, yeah, I'm spiritual, but I can't get it to the next level. Maybe even their religion is holding them back, and they can't embrace this idea of self-mastery because they just think, oh, I accepted Jesus, I'm good to go, I'm in heaven. That's it. Oops, I made a mistake, I killed somebody. It doesn't matter. I'm still going to go to heaven. But this says, no, you really need to eventually do something called self-mastery, which is self-control, self-restraint, and self-discipline. So that is the perfect justice of it all. That's the justice in the universe. Now that's balanced perfectly with mercy for this reason. Even if you don't decide that you want to embrace God, embrace spirituality, and you die at the end of your life, you will be resurrected in a special resurrection just purely based on the mercy of God, because you didn't outright reject this spiritual soul journey. What you did was maybe you denied it or you were ignorant to it, but they will not allow you to cease your existence based purely on your ignorance. Okay? It has to be a whole soul choice. It has to be a choice that they've really searched the quality of your heart and the understanding of your heart. And we're talking about perfect judges here, and say, no, this person really has rejected it. They're never coming back. In fact, they teach that they'll allow a rebellion to continue on an entire planet, which we have here in Lucifer Rebellion, in order for one being, if only one being will get saved out of that, they will allow an entire rebellion with all of these relatively real evils to happen. So you'll see how much mercy that is, because they know, like for instance, okay, that's kind of a deeper example, but they're trying to offer mercy to this being called Lucifer, and this being is rejecting this mercy and rejecting it. And in the meantime, they're throwing this whole world into chaos and confusion and war. And you know how many people suffer because of this rebellion here? But the gods in their wisdom understand that's the sandbox. That's only relatively real. Yeah, it still is relatively real, and we don't want that. That's not what we're. But if we deny somebody the full ability to rehabilitate their soul before their time, and we send them to an early, non-existence, okay, that's what happens. It's not an eternity of hell. It's just non-existence. If we send them to that before their time, that would be like a mistake. That would say, oh no, he was one day away from seeing the light, and now his soul doesn't exist. That will never happen. That we're talking about perfect ministry here. So that would never happen, even to the point of allowing an entire world or an entire system, which is many inhabited worlds, to go into this shadow of rebellion, which we're witnessing right now. Because one eternal soul is worth more than many, many years of relative evil suffering on a material level. Okay, so that's how much mercy is going to be extended to you as well, which is beautiful. But don't trample it underfoot, and also don't negate the understanding of self-mastery to expand within these various Urantia worlds, okay? So you can skip it. Remember, the pace belongs to you. That's the key one-liner here that this is teaching. The pace belongs to you. Faith will grant you the eternity. So if you're looking at your relative who said, I'm an atheist, blah, 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 I don't want to, Christianity's dumb, Judaism's dumb. I looked at man's religions and I found the flaws in him, so therefore I'm going to reject God. That's ignorance. They will be resurrected. They might be resurrected in this special resurrection, which I'm talking about, this merciful one that they call them sleeping survivors, which they go into a state of slumber while everybody else proceeds directly to the mansion that they earned. These other beings who didn't choose to embrace spirituality and God during their life, they go into the sleeping slumber, and then a special resurrection occurs, which they are all resurrected at the same time and brought to a world that's prepared for them. Whereas you, somebody who's embracing the book, embracing spirituality, embracing loving service to your fellows, has already moved well beyond that. So for me personally, that I am choosing to try to get my act together here. And not only does you're preparing for the afterlife, but it also changes what's happening here in your own personal life. You become more balanced. You're saying no to drugs and that high and that low and those accidents, arrests, whatever that come along with that. And your life is starting to get much more wholesome and better and spiritual right now. And then you don't even understand what you're preparing yourself for, but you'll experience it. And when you do, you'll say, I see what this whole faith thing is all about. So that's just a little bit about the mansion worlds and how it's a perfect balance of faith and mercy. I've never heard it explained like this. If we look at another religion, like let's say Buddhism, they say that you're going to redo Earth 1,000,000 times, 1,000 times. One time as a grass, one time as a cow, one time as a boy, one time as a girl, or whatever. And that's that rehashing, redoing. And this book, that's why this is a revelation. It's saying the universe is big enough where we do not have to do Earth over and over again. It's just one and done. This is where you start. This is your lesson learning world, your preparatory life, and then your real career begins after this. So it's revelatory in that way. It's not saying rehash, redo, reincarnate. It's saying, yeah, you're going to do many, many lives and worlds, but you're going to remember them along the way, and you're going to remember your previous, okay? When you have to change forms in order to advance to these other mansion worlds, you're still going to remember your previous form and what you did and learned there. Because why would you want to forget what happened in second grade in order to go to third grade? You'd want to retain those lessons vividly and more clear so that you can advance quicker. So that's where, holy shit, that just makes sense to me. As soon as I heard that, I said, geez, I like logic, I like rationale. Why would I choose to forget what was happening on second grade if I'm going to do third grade? So, and then it eliminates the concept of hell as well. It's saying that's a backwards, God is love, loving God, not this fear of God. It's erasing that out of our mentality, that concept, the fear of God. And it's saying God doesn't have a hell. If you have no more spiritual capacity left in you out of your own personal choice, then you cease to exist. And that is your choice to cease to exist. If God forced you to keep going, even though you didn't want to exist anymore, then you wouldn't have free will. And also, if God put you into a punishment place, then God wouldn't have this all-loving, all-powerful control over what's happening in the universe, right? But not a control over your free will. That's the piece of the puzzle that you can decide what happens with. So wipe that concept out of your mind, that whole hell idea, stupid, childish concept. And but again, I'm not blaming anybody for having these different religious ideas. In fact, the book also points out how many times they got things right in the religions. the seers of old, whether they be Hinduism, Buddhism, they're saying, wow, they penetrated some really deep secrets of the universe, not arbitrary secrets, but mysteries, we'll call them. And they list, these are the points where they got right, and they did, wonderfully on those aspects, but they missed a lot because of their own human thing. And that's where revelation comes in, because it's not tainted by human perception and weakness. Okay, this is advanced beings that don't have those human flaws. So please make sure you like and subscribe to the videos. Let me know if you have questions or anything about the Urantia book, and appreciate you checking it out.